As each people came into being, they were put on a land that looks like them, and given a language that sounds like that land, describes that land in relationship to all those things. As each thing came into being, it was given its own ceremony. So that's how we know our relatives. And when we know all those things, we know how to do our ceremonies to keep the balance between those things.
And at this time, we're going to raise our hands to the beautiful people of this territory, the Musqueam people, the Squamish people, and the Tsleil-Waututh people who raise our hands. We live on this land. It's so beautiful. And we as Indigenous people walk with the memory of what it once was, the beauty of this land, the strength that it gave us, and how it sustained us, how it fed us, and how it protected us, and how we protected it in turn.
We're going to weave some stories together and find out, these are the people in our neighborhood. My name is Kim Haxton. I'm Potawatomi. I want everybody to put on a different pair of glasses tonight, because we're centering an Indigenous voice and we're centering Indigenous worldviews. And so it's different. So you have to take off the settler glasses and put on a new pair of glasses. What's one of the gifts that you've received from your ancestors?
Talk about resilience and strength. So we have kinships and relationships right across the nation. The gift is visionary, the ability to have a vision and hold it and create it in whatever education, politics, the arts. So that's one of the gifts that I'm still trying to harness about one of my ancestors.
I was a child that was adopted. I was given up by my mother. I reflect on it a lot because I'm of a certain age right now, and the connections to who all my relatives are, my birth relatives, my adopted relatives, my blended families, like all of these people that are Indigenous and non-Indigenous, Métis or white, or however you want to say that. I think what my ancestors have given me is my desire to connect to my family, my families, the people that I care about, or that I'm working with, or that I'm growing up with, or that I'm making a play with, or people that I'm singing with, or people that I'm going on a trek with. I think it's the relationship. It's that I'm always making family wherever I'm going. And I look at the people in the circle that I've working or producing or whatever as family. I think that's what I got from my ancestors.
Kitaski nano, netaski uma, wapano kotsi, paksi mutakmina, kiwede no kisi, minasawe no kisi, gigawi no kitaski no. From the north to the south, to the east, to the west, this land here we stand on is Gigawi Nawaski, is Mother Earth. The way we would look at, I don't know how to say this, but the way we look at, there was never any concepts of ownership. And when we talk about our ceremonies, our Sundance and our sweats, all of our ceremonies are about our relationship to the land and the waters. And I've realized that a lot of the work that I have done over the years has always been something to do with the stories of land and water and the stories of family and relationships. The bottom line is that a lot of the stories that we're telling are stories of resilience, of stories of taking back the space in order to tell our stories, and to finding space that honors the kind of stories that we want to tell today.
So I just wanted to take a moment to honor those in the audience. In our Salish culture, when you come in, this is our house right now. You're all witnesses to the work that we're doing. So that's a memory that I hold really strong, is the beauty of this land was a medicine. To me as a child, even though I didn't understand it, And then when we left that island to move to Nanoose Bay, to my stepfather's reserve, I always had that memory in my mind, that freedom that we have. But even in Nanoose Bay, we could still play out till it got dark. My mother would whistle, and we'd run. It was time for bath. She had a whistle that was time for bath, a whistle that was time to get ready for supper. And, so that's what I miss, is that freedom. But I always knew the magic, of our land.
I was selected at birth, and at 3 years old, my grandfather, who was born in 1878, took me to meet the history keepers. Actually, it's a term, it's a very long name that translates to, he always remembers what happened way over there. So they started my training then, and I was quite small, like I said, when my grandfather took me to my teachers. Every session would begin the same way. Outla gona, sit down, dear boy. Aji dant kindang song, I'm going to show you something. Dant ilkidu, prepare yourself. And it says your mind is like a vessel filled with silty water. You've got to let it settle. So I would clasp my hands here and cross my legs, put my head down, close my eyes, and visualize watching that water settle. And then when it settled, I'd say, "Te-heilke," and the person would start talking. And so a part of the process was learning what was called Tlauk Igang. I'm telling the story of all the humans. So we're always relating to the land one way or another. So there was always this feeling that I belong to it rather than it belongs to me. Real estate is when it belongs to you, but earth is when you belong to it. So that's my relationship to it.
Those ancient relationships, to me, I think need to be explored and understood for us to recoup this balance in biodiversity. And these stories have been speaking to me, and how we teach these stories to our young people. How can we teach that idea of reverence? And the fact that if we can just go, hey, let's just all just hold on a sec while these salmon go by. Let's just all just hold on a sec while we recognize and acknowledge nature and these ancient kinships and relationships. And when people say, no, we can't do that, I call bullshit, because I seen the whole world stop during COVID. I saw the whole world go. And I kept thinking of those people stopping for those sockeye people.
I just wanted to share a little bit of who I am. That's our traditional protocol from our Musqueam teachings, is that we stand up and we say who we are and where we're from. Because our ancestors planted those seeds, and then down the line, when we're at gatherings like this, our traditional gatherings like this with other people who've come from the different communities, like the storytelling nights, when we stand up and we say that people know who we are.
Our protocol is to introduce ourselves and to share our lineage and our family. And Hulemia was given to me by my grandmother, Rose, who married into the Musqueam family. My grandfather, Ed Sparrow, is from Musqueam, and my grandmother is from upriver in the Chilliwack-Stolo region. And so that is where my name is from. And the protocol is that we know, as soon as you hear the name Hulemia, you would know what family that was from, what region it was from, how all of a sudden I'm in Musqueam, and then I have relatives in the Stolo Nation, and we had a very detailed, intricate way of keeping track of our lineage and our family and the land.
Because we're very distinct, very unique. Musqueam Masteo, like we are the people of Vancouver. We've been here for over 10,000 years through archaeological evidence or belongings unearthed from our ancestors, oral histories, and the language that we speak, right? It goes back further than we could ever imagine.
And the teaching is that what is this word? We are all one. It's not so must. We are all one. That the fish is our cousin, is our brother, our little brother. It's the mother's son, that they are our family, and that we need to care for them and gently put the bones to the side. We gently carry them to the river. We return them to the river so that we take care of the cycle so that the salmon will return to us year after year after year. And these were our teachings of how to take care of the salmon, how to take care of the land.
I used to think that we were in a time of transition, that we were moving from one place to another. But I see what we were in. We were in a moment of transformation. We are becoming what we are meant to be. And we are meant to be human beings without trauma. We are meant to be humans that love each other. We're meant to be human beings in a world where there is clean air, where there's clean water, where there is enough food, where there's enough medicine. That's what we're all meant to be. And I'm looking forward to seeing our collective transformation.
And for me, time out of mind means since the oldest living memory, our people have been here. And we've been brought up knowing that Tsleil-Waututh comes from this land. And we know that, we've learned that we know when our environment is healthy, our communities are healthy. And we're getting there as Tsleil-Waututh people. We're singing the same message, but it's coming in a different way. So finding a way through your own connections, through your own circles, in standing shoulder to shoulder with Indigenous peoples. Because another one of our teachings and one of our messages is this isn't just for us. We're highlighting what the highest law of the land says, but we're doing it for you as well and for your generations to come. Because where can we go? Tsleil-Waututh isn't going to go anywhere. We have nowhere to go. When that accident happens, we have nowhere to go. Other people can pick up and move, but we can't. Our obligation is to hear. Our obligation is to our children and to our grandchildren and to our grandchildren's grandchildren.
Sometimes when we think about our connection to land and place, that it's different now. We have so many buildings and our land has changed dramatically. It's very used.
My name is Cheoxton. I know they said West, but that's my government name. My true name that was given to me in 1987 is Cheoxton. Translated, Cheoch is our laws and our protocols of our family. So basically a responsibility has been given to me to learn as much as I can about our laws, our protocols, our way of being.
We've heard various stories on Squamish, growing up, listening to our aunties and our uncles when they would take the time to share things with us. I've heard that the Squamish people, the Squamish are the northernmost of the Mish family. The Mish at the end of our word Squamish can be found on other names all the way down the coast to Oregon. And all of these Mish family nations are a part of the one big family that goes back to the time of the Great Flood. When the Great Flood was here, our canoes were tied to the top of Nchikai, which is known as today as Mount Garibaldi. And Nchikai is the original name, still is. And canoes broke loose from there and refastened to the top of Mount Baker. Some broke loose and went to Mount St. Helens, Mount Hood, all the way down to Oregon. So when the water receded, the settlements, the villages were established all along the coast. So every one of those people, all of those nations, all have that mish at the end of their name to signify the family they belong to. So it's nice having that kind of similarities between our Mish families that we know that goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years to a time when we were traveling. Even when the Ice Age was here, we were still on the water. There's so many teachings from the canoe that are designed to keep people focused, designed to allow us to see a better way of getting through life, adding these disciplines of the teachings and of the protocols, the chiach, from the canoes. Our ancestor was one of the CM that went to England, and before going to England they were given a song, and the song comes to us through all the years to now and to the future. It is a chief's honor song, was used by 3 chiefs as they entered the throne room of Buckingham Palace in 1906. So that song comes down to us today for us to have a way of observing our protocol, observing our ancestors, and acknowledging your ancestors, raising our hands, so that to acknowledge that we are all family, and to thank our ancestors and the Creator for our time together here. This medicine that we've gathered to ourselves and shared with each other, it's a good thing and a good way to spend a Saturday night. Yeah. So we'd like to share that song with you right now. Hope, hope, say Musqueam power.